Everyone, and welcome back to Up for Travelling. Now, I've been gone for a few weeks now, but this is my first video back. I thought, you know what? Let's start off the year by giving some tips and tricks as to how and in what way I travel. So how I get it for so cheap when I travel, what kind of things I do to allow me to travel for so long, even with a short amount of stuff with me and things like that. So I'm going to do 5 tips and tricks of how I travel. Now, of course, we want to make sure that we're getting the best deals that we possibly can. And this comes to 2 main things, and they start with your computer here at home. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you're on incognito mode. Now, I'm on Google Chrome here. So what we want to do is Control-Shift-N, and then you will see this come up. Now, it's just got, you've gone incognito. Now, what does it mean? Why would we put this on here? Well, the main reason to have this on here is because all of the stuff that you've been typing, all the trips that you've been looking at previously, maybe you've used specific websites such as Ryanair or Skyscanner, something like that, to look up trips in the past. That is, of course, kept in your browsing history, and the sites that you look at can then use that, and potentially you can have an instance where you actually have higher prices for your tickets. However, if you're in the incognito mode as it is here, then you don't have to worry about that. It's not going to keep your browsing history. As you can see here, you don't have any cookies from the site, so you don't have to worry. Every time you make a fresh search in here, when you're looking for whatever country you might be looking to travel to, you can be assured that as far as the website is concerned, it's the first time you've looked, and so you're going to get the best prices. And don't worry, it's very easy to come out of incognito mode. Just go up here, and you can just see it's closed incognito, and we're out. Now, the other thing that can be really helpful is having a VPN. Now, there are so many different ones you can use. I'm using AVG. No specific reason. It's useful. It does what it's meant to do, and the main thing we have with the VPN is to basically trick your computer or trick the websites you're on to think you're in a different country. Now, many people do this to watch different films on various different providers. However, the main reason I would use it is to go to a country where the prices are cheaper. Now, it may sound strange because you're thinking, well, if I'm just traveling from one country to the next, then it doesn't matter because I'm not booking from my country. However, the easiest one, for instance, is that if I am in America, the prices are automatically higher than if I'm in Glasgow. The prices in the UK are distinctly different, and even if I'm booking a ticket from the US to a completely different country, not even coming near to the UK, such as US to Brazil and back, the prices are significantly less if booking from a UK server than they would be from an American one. It's just the way it happens, and it's as simple as turning it on, and there we go. And just having this VPN, so maybe when you're traveling, you can always go to a country that you know the prices are cheaper, and you can have a look around with this, just going on to change of location, and there are so many different places you can have on here, and obviously certain ones are going to be better than others. So I would definitely advise having a VPN because it will absolutely help just to save you what can be quite a lot of money as well. So those are the 2 tricks to start you off when you're looking for those tickets to start your journey of traveling.
Timing is also something that you want to be looking at to help you with traveling, and specifically to keep the cost down. So I am currently in Austria. I'm in Vienna International Airport, and I'm flying out to Stockholm in Sweden, and I'm doing that at 6 a.m. So I'm in the airport in the early hours at the moment, but that 6 a.m. flight only costs £7. So it's around $10 or €9, and that's something that's really going to be useful when you're traveling a lot. If you can get these kind of costs, it really does help. It means you can do a lot more on your travels if you're doing it on a budget, because a lot of people don't travel because they make that excuse. They find that barrier that, but I can't afford it, I can't do this. Trust me, you can, and this is one of the ways. Yes, it's going to cause you a bit of an issue when you're sleeping and things like that, but trust me, it saves you so much. And this 6 a.m. flight that I'm about to take is one of those proofs.
Now we have packing. Now, this is an obvious thing. I'm taking 7 days worth of stuff here. This is even without washing and the stuff I even have on. But if we take that away, I can reduce that massively down by one very simple thing. And that is what we'd call army roll, effectively. It's just a different way of packing that can reduce the size of the clothes specifically down to a much, much smaller amount. Now you can see they pretty much covered the sofa before, but if we bring all of that back in, we can see that that pile becomes a lot smaller, enough to fit very easily into a standard size carry-on luggage bag. So this is just a rucksack. This is a standard rucksack that I'm taking with me, and you can see everything is going in there now. And you can also see that there's actually room for more stuff. You can actually still buy stuff when you're out there. You're gonna have extra room, and you can take that on and save a lot of money on baggage.
So I'm just getting my stuff together now because I'm on my way to Hungary. And one of the main things I do when I'm traveling on top of this is to make sure I have a ticket out. That's for different reasons. One of them being that it can be a lot cheaper to get a ticket out to just a random country, the next country over, because you don't necessarily know when you're traveling when you're really going to want to leave the country. You may want to go for longer. But when you go into countries, most of them want to know when you're leaving. They want to see a ticket, return or whatever. So it's always good to have that ticket so you don't get into any trouble. But also it can be that you have that ticket and then you can see another one that's cheaper later on. So you can arrange for that ticket and you can check when you're doing it. But it's always important to have that ticket out because it can save you a lot of trouble at the borders, but also mean that you have that option. So you have a cheap ticket and you have the ability to get another one when you're out there without any mucking about, going out there and just wondering. So it's always a good idea to do. So one of the big things when you are traveling and looking to travel more, to be able to save money and do more of these trips, is to be more open with where you're actually traveling to. Is to be far more flexible. So I am currently in Stockholm in Sweden. I think the architecture over there really gives away where I am, definitely in Northern Europe with architecture like that. But why did I do this trip? Well, honestly, because the trip was there, because the ticket was there, because I was able to. And that's the kind of thing I think that really helps. If there's somewhere you've always wanted to go, or somewhere you haven't been before, have a look. Try and put into those engines that you can find all the time what kind of travel there is. Is there just random travel to countries that you just don't even recognise? Be flexible. Think, actually, I wanted to go travelling. I wanted to see new cultures and do new things. What about that? Make a list of different places you want to go, 5 or 6 different countries, so that you have that option, you have that flexibility, rather than just necessarily saying, well, I want to go to Portugal, I want to go to Spain. Have that list of a few different countries, maybe a few outliers, and then you can move from there. The flexibility is definitely a big help when you're travelling.